Welcome to Trending Unpacked, the show where we explore the stories behind the trends shaping our world.
And today, we're looking at someone whose music, well, it just keeps finding new ears, doesn't it? You see him popping up again.
Absolutely. D'Angelo, if you're online, maybe on TikTok or just looking at streaming charts, his stuff is resurfacing.
Yeah, and it's not just nostalgia. You've got a whole new generation of artists, R&B singers, hip-hop producers, pointing to him as, like, foundational, a primary influence.
It's fascinating because his career path is so unusual. He arrives, basically defines neo-soul with these two incredible albums.
Just perfect albums, really.
Then just vanishes. Poof, gone for 14 years.
An eternity in music years.
And then comes back with a third masterpiece, completely when he decides it's time, on his own terms.
It's this magnetic quality, isn't it? The story is as compelling as the music itself, which, let's be honest, is pretty much universally praised.
Right.
But it's the mystery, too. The fact that he chose, well, integrity, silence, maybe, over the whole celebrity machine.
Constant noise, yeah.
And by doing that, he kind of became this almost mythic figure in soul music today.
That's the core tension, I think. That push and pull between the spotlight, the fame, and this relentless, almost obsessive pursuit of musical perfection.
Exactly.
So that's what we need to unpack. We're going to look at the source material covering his three big statements: the incredible arrival with Brown Sugar, the huge artistic jump, and then the withdrawal after Voodoo.
The infamous retreat.
And then finally, that powerful, politically charged return with Black Messiah. We want to really get into the legacy he built with just those three records.
Three pillars, really. It's an amazing story.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Richmond, Virginia, Michael Eugene Archer. To really get D'Angelo's impact, you have to understand where he came from, musically speaking.
Yeah, you absolutely do. Born February 74 in Richmond. And the sources really emphasize this. He wasn't just someone who learned music, he grew up in it. Specifically the Black church.
That gospel grounding.
Deep gospel upbringing. So he's hearing that intensity, that vocal tradition, the call and response, the harmonies from day one. It's baked in.
And he's not just a singer or songwriter. The multi-instrumentalist part seems really key.
Oh, it's crucial. Because it tells you about his level of control, his vision. He wasn't just handing demos off.
Right.
Often, especially early on, he's playing almost everything himself. Piano, drums, bass, keys. Or he's working so closely with musicians like Bob Power or later the Soulquarians that he's shaping every single element. He's the architect.
So having that skill set, piano player, drummer, arranger, allowed him to pull together all these different threads, right?
Precisely. He could hear it all in his head and then actually execute it, synthesize it.
And the blend itself was pretty unique for the time. Our sources talk about this mix. Gospel, obviously, providing that vocal feel.
That texture and phrasing, yeah.
But also heavy funk. James Brown, P-Funk, Sly Stone kind of grooves.
That rhythmic complexity, the syncopation, definitely.
Then classic soul, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Al Green, Curtis Mayfield.
The melodic sweetness, the vibe.
And over all of it, these lyrics that were, well, more introspective, spiritual sometimes, sensual other times.
It was a very specific recipe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Think about R&B in the mid-90s. What was dominating?
Well, you had that really polished, often synthetic sound, kind of the tail end of New Jack Swing.
High gloss production, yeah.
Or you had tracks that were very, very hip-hop driven. Samples, heavy beats.
Both huge, commercially successful sounds. But neither was really prioritizing that raw analog warmth you got from 70s soul, that human feel.
It's kind of a band in a room.
Exactly. D'Angelo brought that back. He reintroduced the Fender Rhodes, the Wurlitzer, the Hammond B3. He embraced the slight imperfections, the feel of live musicians breathing together.
But it wasn't just looking backwards, was it? It felt new.
Totally. He wasn't just mimicking. He took the lessons from that era, the grit, the improvisation from jazz, that deep funk pocket, but applied a distinctly 90s sensibility to the lyrics and the overall mood.
So blending old sounds with modern themes, that's kind of the core of neo-soul, isn't it?
That's pretty much it. And this is where you firmly plant D'Angelo as a founder, maybe the founder, or certainly one of the absolute key figures of that neo-soul movement.
Right alongside Erykah Badu, Lauryn Hill, Maxwell.
Exactly. H.E.R. Massenburg might have coined the term later for marketing, but the movement itself was organic. It felt like a reaction, almost a rebellion, against how commercial R&B had become.
A search for something deeper, more authentic.
I think so. If the charts were all about slick production, neo-soul was about musicianship, complex chords, spiritual depth, and yeah, that feeling of a live band maybe playing in some smoky club.
Sophisticated stuff, but still with that groove.
Sophisticated R&B, exactly.
Yeah.
For people who loved 70s soul, but also appreciated where lyrics and hip-hop sensibilities had gone in the 90s, it hit a nerve.
And boom, 1995, Brown Sugar. The debut album, it lands.
And it lands hard. It was a genuine moment.
Yeah.
Critically, people got it instantly.
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly positive reviews. It just sounded different. Warmer.
Yeah, that warmth is the word that comes up again and again.
And the low-end focus. The bass lines, the kick drum, it felt thick, grounded, innovative, but rooted. Technically, he was making vintage instruments sound completely fresh. That Rhodes, that Wurlitzer sound, they have a texture digital synths just couldn't match back then.
You hear it right away. It's got that slightly dusty feel, like you found an old record, but it sounds brand new.
That's a great way to put it.
It's smooth, sensual, but not slick or vulgar. It felt grown up, but still young.
And it set the standard immediately. It was commercially successful, had big hits like the title track, Lady, Cruisin'.
Huge hits.
But it never compromised musically. The level of craft was just so high, and the comparison started right away. Not just to his peers, but to the legends.
Prince, Marvin Gaye.
Instantly. That's the kind of weight, the kind of expectation he created for himself with just one album. It established him as this serious artist, focused on depth, authenticity, longevity, not just chasing trend.
I was building a whole world with that sound.
Definitely.
And setting that bar so high, establishing himself as this genius right out of the gate, that kind of explains the pressure that came next, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely, because after Brown Sugar, the world wasn't just watching. It was expecting something monumental for the follow-up.
Yeah.
And that pressure, well, it pushed him into some really interesting and ultimately difficult places.
So 5 years pass. 5 years of waiting, wondering how he tops Brown Sugar. And then in 2000, we get Voodoo.
And Voodoo is, well, it's not Brown Sugar Part 2. Not even close.
No, it's a whole different animal. If Brown Sugar was warm, maybe inviting, Voodoo feels dense, raw, almost murky sometimes.
It's way more experimental. You hear these deep, swirling grooves, polyrhythms influenced by Phil Akuti's Afrobeat, like really thick, psychedelic funk vibe, like Funkadelic or Sly Stone at their heaviest.
It's not immediate music, is it? You kind of have to sink into it, let it wash over you.
Exactly. It demands your attention. It doesn't give up its secrets easily. Lots of long tracks, meandering jams.
And the sound itself is different, much less polished.
Deliberately so. This is where the Soulquarians come in. This collective he assembled at Electric Lady Studios in New York.
Questlove from the Roots on drums.
The heartbeat of the album, really. James Poyser on keyboards, Pino Palladino on bass sometimes, Roy Hargrove on trumpet.
And Jay Dilla, the legendary hip-hop producer, was involved too.
Yeah, Dilla's influence is definitely in there, especially on the rhythmic feel. But the whole group, the Soulquarians, they weren't just hired guns. It was like a think tank.
A shared philosophy.
Totally. They were obsessed with achieving this particular feel, this pocket. Questlove talks about it a lot, playing slightly behind the beat. Not sloppy, but intentionally relaxed, creating this really heavy, almost intoxicated swagger.
That drunken-style drumming people mentioned.
Right. And they were committed to analog recording, tape machines, vintage gear. They embraced the hiss, the hum, the imperfections. That raw sound wasn't an accident. It was the point.
Reflecting the content, the mood.
I think so, yeah. It reflects D'Angelo's own state at the time, too, probably.
Right.
Grappling with fame, expectations. The music feels more internal, more psychologically complex, less about charming the listener, more about expressing something deep and maybe conflicted.
It definitely showed him as this uncompromising artist, right? A perfectionist. 5 years crafting this thing, clearly not worried about radio play or fitting in.
Authenticity over accessibility, absolutely. Prioritizing that deep, swampy groove above everything else.
And yet, despite how challenging it was, Voodoo was a huge critical success.
Massive. Critics adored it. It won the Grammy for Best R&B Album, Untitled, How Does It Feel? Won Best Male R&B Vocal Performance. It cemented his reputation as like a once-in-a-generation talent who could actually push the boundaries of soul and R&B.
And this is the big but. The success, especially of one particular song in its video, kind of became the catalyst for everything falling apart.
Yeah, we have to talk about Untitled, How Does It Feel? The song itself is incredible, this slow burn tribute to Prince.
Beautiful track.
But the video, oh boy.
It's iconic now, but the impact then was just seismic.
It really was. Directed by Paul Hunter. Starkly simple concept. Just D'Angelo, filmed from the waist up, apparently nude, singing directly into the camera. Intense eye contact. Very vulnerable.
Powerful visually, no doubt.
But the reaction completely shifted the focus. Suddenly, it wasn't about the musical complexity of Voodoo, this dense, layered album. It was all about D'Angelo's body.
He became an instant sex symbol, like overnight. Mainstream.
And completely objectified. The conversation in the media among fans just pivoted entirely. Less about the musician, the arranger, the vocalist.
And all about the physique, the image.
And the sources are pretty clear. This triggered the retreat. He was deeply uncomfortable with it. He felt like he was being marketed for his looks, not his music.
Which must have felt like a total betrayal of everything he stood for as an artist, right? His whole thing was depth, craft.
Exactly. He's this introspective guy, a serious musician, and suddenly he's being treated like a commodity, purely based on his appearance. A hypersexualized image he didn't really court or control.
That disconnect must have been incredibly jarring. The pressure to live up to that image when internally he's this dedicated craftsman.
It seems like it created this unbearable conflict, creative exhaustion from making Voodoo, combined with intense media scrutiny, anxiety about performing, and this feeling of being fundamentally misunderstood, misrepresented.
The price of that kind of fame, directed in that way, was just too much.
Apparently so. The result was pretty immediate. He finished the Voodoo tour, which was reportedly erratic sometimes, and then he just disappeared.
Completely withdrew.
Stopped touring, stopped recording, stopped giving interviews, just retreated from public life entirely. For over a decade.
It's almost unthinkable in today's always-on music industry to just walk away at the peak of your critical acclaim.
It is. But here's the paradox, right? His silence didn't make people forget him.
No, it did the opposite. It fueled the fire.
It amplified everything. His absence turned him into this enigmatic figure, the soul recluse, people called him.
The mystique just grew and grew.
Absolutely. While other artists were putting out albums every couple of years, staying visible, D'Angelo's silence created this vacuum, this intense anticipation. What's he doing? Is he okay? Will he ever come back?
Tan forums, bootlegs of rare live shows.
Yeah.
They became treasures.
Exactly. The scarcity made his work even more valuable, more discussed. His legend was being built in his absence. He became almost mythical.
By refusing to play the game, by refusing to feed the machine that he felt was distorting him.
He ended up solidifying his reputation for authenticity more than ever. The silence became part of the art, in a weird way. The artist vanished, but the legend just exploded.
Okay, so fast forward through years of silence, rumors, maybe a leaked track here or there, whispers of him working.
Endless speculation.
And then, December 2014, 14 years after Voodoo, out of absolutely nowhere, Black Messiah drops.
A complete surprise release.
Yeah.
No warning, no big build-up.
Yeah.
There it was, D'Angelo and the Vanguard.
And the timing felt incredibly significant. This wasn't just a random Tuesday release.
No, not at all. It landed right in the middle of intense social and political upheaval in the U.S. The Ferguson protests were still raw. The Black Lives Matter movement was gaining momentum.
It felt like a response.
It absolutely felt like a deliberate response.
Yeah.
This wasn't an album timed for Christmas sales. It felt like an album timed for a cultural crisis, a necessary statement.
So the music itself, still rooted in funk and soul, but the tone felt different again, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, you still had tracks about love and spirituality, which are always part of his work. The dominant themes were overtly political. Race, injustice, protest, revolution, hope, awakening. It was all in there.
The title itself, Black Messiah, was a statement.
A huge statement. He explained it wasn't about him being the Messiah, but about the idea that we all have the potential to be leaders, to bring change. It was a call to collective consciousness, really.
Musically, it still had that density, that complexity we heard on Voodoo. Maybe even more so.
Definitely dense. Still very groove-focused, with the Vanguard, his band, locked in tight. You still hear the Sly Stone, the P-Funk, but maybe with more urgency, more grit.
Maybe angrier sometimes, or maybe just more direct.
Yeah, direct is a good word. Less dreamy than Voodoo, perhaps more grounded in the reality of what was happening. The sound was complex, layered, almost defiant at times. It wasn't background music.
It felt like the work of someone who had been observing, processing, and finally had something urgent to say.
Exactly. It solidified his whole career pattern, didn't it? Depth over everything. Authenticity above all. He didn't come back after 14 years trying to recapture the brown sugar audience with easy hits.
No way.
He came back with this challenging, dense, socially conscious, funk rock soul document, because that's clearly what he needed to make. It proved the artist who retreated was still there, still uncompromising.
And that integrity, that refusal to compromise over, 20 years by that point, that's surely why his legacy is so strong.
It has to be. The fact that he built this monumental reputation on just 3 studio albums, released over 2 decades, it speaks volumes about quality over quantity.
It really does.
His work isn't just liked, it's studied, it's revered.
So let's trace that influence. Where do you specifically hear D'Angelo's DNA in music today? Who picked up those threads?
Oh, it's woven into so much modern R&B and soul, and even hip-hop. You mentioned Frank Ocean earlier.
Yeah, definitely hear it there.
Ocean's use of space, those layered, intricate vocal harmonies, the way he builds atmosphere, the introspection that feels heavily indebted to the template D'Angelo laid down, especially the Voodoo era's moodiness.
Okay, who else?
Anderson Paak is another obvious one. The live band focus, the drumming style.
Yeah, pocket again.
Absolutely. That intricate, slightly behind the beat, super funky drumming, that's a direct descendant of Questlove's work with D'Angelo, filtered through Paak's own energy.
Makes sense.
And you hear echoes in artists like H.E.R. with her musicianship and soulful vocals, Daniel Caesar's blend of gospel and modern R&B, Miguel's adventurousness.
So it's the blend, the musicianship, the willingness to experiment within that soul framework.
Yeah, it's that commitment to craft, to organic sounds sometimes, to complex harmony and rhythm, and to lyrical depth. He provided a blueprint for how to be a serious musical artist in this genre, someone who wasn't just a singer, but a complete musician and visionary.
He showed you could actually step away, take 10, 15 years if needed, refine your vision.
And come back stronger to an audience that's waited because they trust your integrity. They know you won't sell out.
That patience is rewarded.
His entire career is basically the ultimate argument for artistic integrity being the most valuable, most enduring thing you can have. He created this body of work that's timeless, constantly referenced, constantly inspiring new artists.
So even when he's silent, he's still present, still shaping the conversation.
Pretty much. A permanent fixture, even as a recluse. The myth and the music are intertwined now.
It's quite a legacy, built not just on the incredible music, but on the courage, really, to step away from the very fame that music brought him when it threatened to dilute what mattered most.
Choosing the craft over the celebrity. And because he did that when he finally speaks, musically, everyone listens. Hashtag BV. Outro and teaser. So when you look at D'Angelo's whole journey, what does it tell us about that constant battle between, artistic vision and the pressures of the commercial world? Maybe it suggests that real creative power, real control, sometimes comes from refusing to play by the established rules.
Yeah, like the scarcity itself became a source of strength.
Exactly. Maybe the best work sometimes needs that kind of courage, the courage to wait, to disappear, to get it right on your own terms.
Definitely something to think about. And if you want a practical exercise, go put on Voodoo and just try to find that elusive pocket Questlove talks about. Good luck.
Huh? Yeah. A lifetime's work. Anyway, next time on Trending Unpacked, we're switching gears, completely exploring Boots. Netflix, that new series that's got everyone talking about identity, rebellion, and what reality even means in this age of algorithms.
Sounds fascinating. Okay, thank you for joining us for this exploration. We'll unpack more trends and stories for you next time.